Very interesting new developments in the last couple of days on UFOs. And yes, because Crystal is out, I'm going to cover his UFOs as much as I want to. Not that she's against it. Not that she's against it. I'm just very into it. Okay, so this all started out on a website called The Debrief. Let's throw this up there. So The Debrief, very interesting news organization on science, tech, and aerospace, spoke with a lot of U.S. military and intelligence officials about the UAPTF. Now, I want everybody to take that in. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Now, this task force, we've talked a lot about that here. That's what is working with Congress and the Intelligence Committee. Well, it turns out, according to The Debrief, they spoke with a bunch of officials about a new report that's been circulating around the Pentagon and within the intelligence community. Now, I'm going to read some direct quotes to everyone. Everyone The Debrief spoke with said that the most striking feature of a recent report was the inclusion of a new, extremely clear photograph of an unidentifiable triangular aircraft. Now, yesterday, The Debrief published these photos. So the first one, let's go back to that first one, and you can see clearly it was taken with a cell phone camera from an aircraft. This was an FA-18 fighter pilot, and it was captured somewhere over the ocean. I also want to explain here the behavior. So two officials that received that report said, quote, the photo was taken after the triangular craft emerged from the ocean and began to ascend straight upwards at a 90-degree angle. So Ryan, you've had the privilege of being here and having participated now in 2 UFO segments. Your reaction to this news, real bombshell stuff, man.
This is amazing stuff. And what's amazing to me too about it is my inability to believe it. Like I could, they could walk on stage with a couple of aliens who would start talking, and right. That's not happening. There's some type of mental block that I have that just doesn't allow me to go there, even though. I can't do the math, but I know other people can do the math and show that the probabilities are such that if you have this, infinite galactic, historical timeline before you, that the probability is that, of course, we're not the only place where life could develop. And if life can develop, you can have intelligent life. And if you can have intelligent life, you can figure out space travel. We figured it out. I want to know a lot more about what was going on underneath the ocean, this thing flying out of it.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we've got ex-Air Force personnel who've testified that UFOs have actually deactivated nukes. One of the things I forgot to mention, Commander David Fravor talked about, is that one of the UFOs that came into contact with a U.S. Air Force plane actually jammed their radar, technically an act of war. And what's important to acknowledge about all this is that part about the ocean, this is now consistent with a couple of different verified accounts of U.S. military personnel that are encountering this. And Ryan, you and I were talking before the segment. In some cases now, nuclear attack submarines are said to have encountered some of these vehicles under the ocean. And I remind everybody, the tic-tac one in 2005 was actually observed by Commander Fravor, saying that it might have been communicating with something in the subsurface. So this isn't just something which is aerial necessarily. This is just something that kind of because it defies the laws of physics, it just changes the way that we think about flying. I mean, whenever you have a propulsion system which doesn't require like air and burning air, you fly just same underwater as you do in the air. Are you a ship? Like, I don't know.
Are there other theories that the Army is throwing out or the military is throwing out as to what else could be going on here?
Great question. In terms of the military, they don't mention any. Now, in the Debrief article, what they talk about is something called a weather dropsonone, and that is like a triangular-ish, I wish I had a picture that I could throw up here, I should have thought about that, which is attached by string to a larger weight. And the reason why they generally think they can rule that out is because the string and the weight are not attached in terms of that triangular phenomena. The other one people were talking about is a mylar balloon. That's been the case in several different ones. That one, look, I don't have an explanation. It's certainly possible. What I would say is I do not think an FA-18 fighter pilot takes out his cell phone to take a photo of something when it's a mylar balloon. I just think that given the amount of time that these guys spend up there in the air, we're talking about tens of thousands of hours of airtime, of so much more, they know how to distinguish between something that they believe to be something emerging from the ocean and going at a right 90-degree angle, and like a Mylar balloon, which is just like going around.
Right.
So look, I mean, this is just another tool in the cap. And as we've said, and actually it's interesting, a lot of people contacted me after our last segment when you were asking, like, why would they keep this secret? A lot of it has to do with the nuclear program and some of the more secret elements of the U.S. military arsenal and their own, contact that has come in with these vehicles. But, it just day after day after day, the situation gets a lot more interesting.
I'm glad we're learning more about it. I'm glad that, credible outlets like the one that you just elevated are looking at this in a way where people who haven't been following it religiously for years can have a place to go to and look at it in a serious way.
Yeah, I try hard to break it down on only the most credible ones and Pentagon reports, things with photos, that type of thing, because it's very easy to be dismissed. There's been a lot of propaganda about this for many, many years. Anyway, next week on Rising, another week planned with more great guests. Crystal Ball is going to be back with me. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. And everybody, leave a comment thanking Ryan for joining us for this week. He's been such a great guest host. It's been great to be with you, Ryan. Really enjoyed our conversations. Thank you.
It's been amazing.
Absolutely. All right, we will see you all next week.